Inspire.
And I'm Nurture.
And I'm Challenge.
Today, we're going to go back in time. The year is 1860. Queen Victoria is on the throne and an amazing transformation has taken place over the last 100 years. It's called the Industrial Revolution.
A transformation? Like a huge change? What changed?
Let's go back even further. For thousands of years, most people lived in the countryside. They lived and worked near where they were born. They didn't travel much. Most work was done on farms making food. The main forms of power came from people and animals. When people made things like clothes, they worked in their own homes, and most things were made by hand in their own village.
However, starting around the 1760s, everything about the way people made things, the way people worked, and how and where they lived started to transform. People began making things in factories, not homes. Their factories were powered by coal-burning steam engines that did the work of hundreds of people. They started to move around by trains, not horses, at speeds never before seen. They lived in vast cities, not tiny villages. Machines could make things way faster and way cheaper. It was the biggest change to the way people lived since the invention of farming around 12,000 years ago.
A historian called Eve Fisher calculated that making a single shirt before the Industrial Revolution would take 400 hours just to spin the thread, 72 hours to weave the cloth, and 7 hours to cut and sew together. That's why most people only had 2 outfits, one for Sundays and one for all the other days. The Industrial Revolution changed all of this. Instead of spinning one thread by hand, we got machines that could spin 128 threads all at once. Journeys that once took days by horse now took a matter of hours by train.
Wow! Cheaper, faster. People must have been so excited at all these great changes.
Excited? Haven't you noticed all of this smoke? According to this, many people hated these factories. Some even destroyed the machines because they were being put out of work. Instead of people working in their homes with their families in quiet villages, women and children were forced to work in filthy, noisy factories. Children had to work 12 to 14 hours a day for 6 days a week. There was no concern about safety. Many were killed or seriously injured by fast-moving machines. They'd start at 6 a.m. and work solidly until 8 p.m. and were paid around sixpence for that whole day's work, just enough for maybe a few pints of milk. If they got tired and started to slow down, if they spoke or stared out of the window, they were brutally punished. Some were beaten or even had their ears nailed to a piece of wood.
That sounds horrible. I love challenge, not torture.
As the factories needed more and more workers, the cities grew quickly. Too quickly. Houses were often built cheaply and poorly. Hundreds would have to share a single outside toilet. Sewage flowed through the streets. Sometimes whole families lived in damp cellars, and the sewage would leak in when it rained. Cities were filthy, dirty, smelly, polluted, and rife with diseases and rats. Those poor people.
Life was often horrific, but over time, they introduced laws to make factories safer, to ban children working in them so that they could go to school instead. They brought in laws to improve air quality and to make sure houses were properly built and cities had clean water and proper sewage systems.
Well, at least we worked it all out in the end. Now we get to have things made in factories on the other side of the world, and we get clean running water and indoor toilets, and our cities don't stink. We fixed the problems. That's pretty inspiring, isn't it?
But we still have pollution and climate change, while children are still being forced to work in horrible conditions across the world. Millions of people still don't have clean running water and indoor toilets. We still have many problems to fix and many people who desperately need our help.
I guess it hasn't stopped being a challenge, but for all of the suffering it caused and still causes, the Industrial Revolution allowed more people to live at a higher standard of comfort than has ever been possible in all of human history.
Just look at everything around you. It all came from factories. Your clothes, your toys, your homes, your phones, electricity, Wi-Fi, whatever you're watching this on, would not be possible without the Industrial Revolution. We're all a living part of a massive change that started to happen on an island called Britain about 250 years ago. And that's inspirational.